Welcome back. Well, artificial intelligence transforming all aspects of American life, and the General Catalyst Institute is playing a major role in policy between venture capital and governments across the world. General Catalyst is a leader in funding defense, technology, and healthcare startups and bringing AI to new industries. The venture capital firm most recently raising $75 million in 2 funding rounds for accrual to bring AI automation to the accounting firm. Joining me now, the woman behind it all is the General Catalyst Institute president, Teresa Carlson. Teresa, great to see you.
Good morning, Maria.
Thank you so much. And when I see you applying AI to an accounting firm,
yes,
you know, it shows you sort of the broad range of what can be done. What kind of a reception are you getting from companies when you go in there and start talking about changing their business with regard to AI?
Actually, really positive. If you think about AI being as American as apple pie, AI is really where we need to be seeing this productivity. And if a company like Accrual makes a lot of sense because you're providing productivity to a very traditional industry like accounting, and it's not about taking away jobs here, but it's literally helping these CPAs be a lot more productive, doing work checking. And Maria, this is where humans side by side with AI makes a lot of sense. And we talk about all the cost in AI and what's going on. This is an example of real productivity gains that we're going to need to see with AI. And this is what people want, right? Not just the spending. They want to see how is it being applied for real world productivity gains.
That's why today people need to bone up on AI and ensure that they're ready for this big transformation. So what about the Trump administration and its efforts on this? I mean, President Trump gets it, obviously. He's trying to, you know, put America #1 in this. How do you see that from a venture capital standpoint?
Really great. I mean, this administration, I've been working with governments and public sector for, over 20 years, Maria. And President Trump and this administration has an amazing push in the U.S. and globally of saying we have got to be #1. He just announced this week, again, the AI data center effort. You see the Pax Silica. And these are things that really matter because on the AI data center front, he said, look, we got to move faster, but we've got to make sure that the cost of this doesn't get passed on to consumers with utility. So he's looking at those. Then you think about work skills. He's talking about work skills and what we have to do there. And side by side, we need a human touch along with AI, but we're not really talking about that enough. So this administration is really pushing on all fronts to make sure that America is leading.
Well, I mean, look, Elon Musk wants to put, data centers in space. And,
yes,
I just love this space story. We've done so much on space on this program. And Elon Musk's SpaceX is planning a blockbuster IPO later this year, as you know that after he announced the largest private merger ever. He combined his SpaceX with XAI, valuing this merged company at $1.25 trillion. Today, the Journal writes about his go-to banker, Michael Grimes, back in action for the SpaceX IPO later this year, saying that Grimes is leaving his government position. He was working for Howard Lutnick at the Commerce Department. Now he's going back to Morgan Stanley to lead this charge. What's your take on space and what happens now? This IPO is certainly going to generate lots of interest and money moving, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, now you have this one. You have Anthropic and OpenAI saying they're going public this year. But this is, again, the administration, the public markets have opened up. They need more capital. So in order to get to more capital, they're saying we got to get to the public markets. So private capital is not as easy. There's a lot of private capital out there, but you're seeing a combination of these things. Another example, just this last week, Marie, you saw Amazon, their earnings were really good, 24% growth in cloud, but then they're like a whopping, they're going to spend $200 billion this year on infrastructure. When we see these numbers, people are like, how do we get to that faster? And for Elon and SpaceX, let's go to the public markets if you're going to build data centers in space. And when we say we don't have enough room here on Earth, we're going to have to think about space.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, this is a national security issue with space,
hugely,
of course, because that's where our satellites are. But how do you answer the critics that say this is way too much spending, trillions of dollars every year on data centers and AI, and will the banks be left holding the bag? Because in order to pay for it, you're seeing all this borrowing. Look at Google. They're doing a 100-year bond.
Yeah. Well, I would say an old term, it's the chicken or the egg. In America, we've got to be ahead.
Yeah.
And they are creating these models faster than people can adopt, but we can't have China get ahead of us, Maria. And I just had somebody tell me last week that China's producing a great EV every 57 seconds.
Wow.
And a drone every 9 seconds. We have to make sure our manufacturing's here in America.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that our allies are using American tech. So when I hear this, I'm like, well, we've got to spend in order to stay ahead. So this is, again, I believe in America. I believe in our ingenuity and what we're doing. So I think the spending's got to catch up. You started with accrual. This is an example of applied AI. We've got to see these applications at the enterprise and government level to really have the production that we need.
And of course, going to the public markets makes a lot of sense right now. We're at record highs. Right?
Yes.
The Dow Industrial is above 50,000. Are you seeing lots of companies right now looking for an exit strategy given the tone of the market?
I think companies are trying to figure out where they fit. You're seeing like companies on the traditional software side say, where do we fit with AI? How do we make sure that we're moving faster for the adoption of AI?
Okay.
But in terms of exit, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of companies and shareholders want returns. So,
exactly.
Yeah, they want returns.
And the administration, look, President Trump gets this. It's amazing to me that we need, I mean, after all of these years, President Trump was the first president to actually say, of course, build it in America. He's pushing to implement this nationwide framework for AI and lead this global race. We've got a recent Fox News poll finds 80% of Americans think that the U.S. priority for AI development should be focused on addressing domestic risks, while 20% are more worried about staying ahead of China, and they think that we should rapidly implement AI. What are your thoughts on that? But really, the worry from your average person out there is that AI is going to replace their jobs, right? I mean, what about that? How does the jobs market change in all of this?
Well, again, we're not talking enough about this. There's a lot of leaders saying you're going to have more humanities. Something that AI doesn't have, believe it or not, is imagination and ingenuity. This is what humans have, empathy. So we need humans alongside that capability. And with a lot of our companies, Hippocratic AI is an example where they do agentic AI nursing, but they have a human alongside of it. Dario from Anthropic has said, let's have a human alongside this so we can make sure we do have safety and security with AI while we move fast. So
that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, you can't. Moving fast doesn't mean don't have humans.
Yeah.
It means let's make sure that we have the capabilities that humans have that AI does not have.
If you were starting out today and you're just graduating, what sector would you want to go into?
Humanities.
Humanities.
For sure.
What does that mean, humanities?
That means,
what's the job?
That means understanding how people think and operate.
Psychology?
Psychology, empathy, how you traditionally would evaluate and assess, because in the world of AI, Maria, right now, we do have people out there teaching those AI models to be empathetic, judgment, trust.
Yeah.
How do you be a good human? How do you apply that into the AI?
I like that.
If we let them just go crazy, right, we're going to have a lot more blinks with AI. So we do have to have that human oversight.
I like that. Let's face it, AI does not have bedside manner.
No,
right?
not at all. It gets on me if I say that is not correct. They'll say you're not correct. You didn't spell that word right.
Oh God, Teresa, great to catch up.
Thank you,
so
Maria.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Teresa Carlson here this morning. We'll be right back. Stay with us.